ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Bike Show, coming to you from Rim and Rubber. For those of you who don't know, we shoot here every Wednesday night. Everybody is welcome. We've got another full house here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming. In particular tonight, we've got Northside BMW, this lovely crowd. Come, give us a cheer.
Of course, nobody's actually here to see us do our thing. They're actually here for our incredibly infamous quiz, which we hold after we've finished all this malarkey. So if you do want to take part in the quiz, you've got to come on down. But first, talking of quizzes, Matt's been asking a few questions about a particular bike.
What bike first appeared in 1999 and helped create a new hyperbike class of motorcycles? What bike was so fast it prompted the manufacturers to impose a voluntary speed limit on all their products? What bike is named after a falcon, the fastest diving bird in the world, capable of reaching speeds of 320 kilometers an hour? What bike is the most customized of all sport bikes? It's a bike that, surprisingly, has never been featured on the bike show before. I'm sure you've all guessed by now, haven't you? It's this, Suzuki's Hayabusa. Legend is a bit of an overused description these days, but I think it's fair to say that this beast is exactly that, a genuine legend. And the reason for that legendary status is down to one thing, really, and it's the engine. Nothing particularly adventurous, apart from size. Inline four-cylinder, but 1,340 cc's. Horsepower, well, it's about par for the course these days. 200 brake horsepower, which is what the superbikes are all claiming. But what really sets it apart is nearly 160 newton meters of torque. And that's enough to embarrass something as torquey as a £12.99 Panigale. Acceleration, any gear, any revs. It's just so damn easy to go fast. For a big, heavy bike, 266 kilos when fully fueled, it's a pretty decent handler too. It will dive into a corner without too much effort. It stops well, and the fueling is nigh on perfect. Same thing goes for the gearbox, which is as sweet as anything I've used over the past few years. You can feel the weight, though, when you go for the brakes. The monoblock Brembo calipers do a valiant job, but there's no denying it takes longer to stop than, say, a genuine superbike. And if you should hit a bump or two mid-corner, the weight will get the Busa wallowing just a little. The suspension, though, even on stock settings, is more than up to controlling that mass. And with full adjustability, you should be able to dial in a setting that gives you a bit more sportiness if that's what you're looking for. One thing that has always divided opinion on the Hyabusa is the looks. Like Marmite, some love it, others hate it. The designer was going for a muscular, distinctive appearance and doesn't mind if people hate it because then it has still achieved its goal of making an impression. There's 3 different drive modes, but I can't imagine any Busa owner would want to tame that engine in any way whatsoever. There's ABS, but surprisingly no traction control. Suzuki has, to be brutally honest, been a bit on the slow side adopting this technology. Which is a shame because on cold rubber, it's all too easy to dial in a bit too much throttle from standstill and get the rear tyre scrabbling for grip. You know what the most interesting thing about the Hyabusa is? It's the future. Apparently there's a new model on the horizon and already the rumours have started flying. So let's get back to Rim and Rubber and start a few of our own.
So you've actually ended that piece with more questions than you started the piece.
Well, that's the whole point.
Well, I suppose so. Look, I mean, the thing is, the main point is 17 years in production, only one upgrade, so there's got to be a new one due.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
You'd think so. But before we get into all that, let's look at the specs for this bike, because they're quite impressive. Now, 197 brake horsepower. That's what every bike's making
Yeah,
these
it's not the
days.
horsepower, it's that 155 newton meters. The torque is massive. The engine is a thing of wonder. It's incredibly... I mean, these guys use them for drag racing, to stick them in planes. It's smooth, it's powerful, it's torquey. It's utterly fantastic in every single way.
It's also quite heavy as well.
That's fully fueled, so it's not as bad as you think. But yeah, you can feel the weight on it. It's a little bit porky.
Can I tell you what I'm looking at? I'm looking at that price, 189,000 Rand. I mean, that's slightly more than a 600 these days.
Yeah, we did hear that apparently Kawasaki's new ZX6R, sorry about this Kawasaki, but you're going to say it anyway, it's on the same price, isn't it?
Almost, yeah.
Nearly 190 grand for a ZX6. So at the moment, that offers incredible value. And, Suzuki asked me to say, there's 5 units left. That's a 2016 model that I tested. 2015 models available, 5 left, and they're 10 grand cheaper. And the only difference is colour. Because it's a bike they haven't changed since 1999.
I was going to say this, you know, a while ago I said that Suzuki somehow are doing something right. They've got this loyal following. This bike is, how long? You said 17 years, 1 upgrade, and it's still selling.
And you know what? It's one of those weird bikes. Normally bikes, when they come out, they sell a load in the first year or two, and then it tails off and everyone waits for the next model. This one works in exactly the opposite way. When it first came out, people were a bit, I'm not sure. You had your die-hard followers, but ever since then, the sales have gradually crept up and up and up.
Which is
so
completely
in a way,
opposite to what everything else
completely
does.
opposite. In a way, you can see why Suzuki didn't bother messing with it. I tell you what, the looks. Everyone used to think it was ugly, but now got used to it. What do you think of the Busa? Yay, no, yes? That's a pretty solid yes.
Suzuki
we won't
magic,
do a no.
No, we won't do the no. It's not going to make any difference.
To get to the crux of the matter, the TomTom heart rating, I can see there 4.5. Well, is that 4.5 or 4 and 2
I couldn't make mine up. It's about 4.71. I dropped a little bit off. I can't remember what did I drop. I just got no traction control, which is on a bike like that. I had a few moments. It needs traction control, so it lost a little bit for that. Otherwise, it's a bit too. It's quite low clip-on. It's a bit uncomfortable actually over long distance, but I'd forgive it for that. You know, it is what it is.
Let's have a look at some of the competitors here. Okay, this is the one that started it all.
This started all the craze, didn't it? Honda CBR 1100 XX
Super Blackbird. Super Blackbird. And I think this is the best looking of all of them.
Yeah, it is.
We were jumping the gun here. There was a ZZR 1100 before that, then this, and this jumped
This had the speed, with the ZZR 11 had the speed record, then this. Well, that's what you can buy now. This is the only direct competitor, isn't it?
And is that... I mean, it's slightly better looking, but is it as fast?
They're as fast as
I'm
each
going
other.
to say, hang on, I'm going to say, this is probably slightly less sporty, but more toury.
Yeah, it's much more
comfortable.
toury. It's got a much more comfortable riding position.
Yeah, there's another not so obvious competitor, the K30.
Which you can't get anymore, but this was a lovely bike. Shaft drive, 175 horsepower as well, so it was quick. But BMW never gets into that Speed Wars thing, so...
No, they never admit to that kind of thing, do they? And of course...
Have fun and go fast on a motorcycle.
How dare you?
We're German, you know.
we don't have fun. And then, of course, there's the modern competitor,
yes.
the H2.
So this has changed the game, hasn't it?
This is completely
supercharged, inline four, supercharged, completely rewritten the game. So that's why I was talking about the rumours. It's supposedly next year, 2017, we get a new Hyabusa. Actually, having talked to Suzuki, I think it's probably going to be 2018. Everything's moved back a year.
Well, if
but
it's
the
still
rumours
selling,
are...
then...
Well, yeah, they probably don't want it, but they have to respond to this. So Suzuki has also been filing patents the last couple of years about turbos and middleweight bikes. Ooh. So the rumours are it's going to be a turbo Hyabusa.
But I mean, if they put a turbocharger on a 1400cc engine, it's going to be producing 300 brake horsepower.
Hopefully, yes.
But let's look at the rumours that are around. And let's just look at some of the... it could look like this.
It won't.
It won't.
It won't.
No.
And it hopefully won't look like this.
Well, this is actually a concept that they've done at the Tokyo show, so that supposedly shows its styling.
Is that made of ice?
It's carved out of soap.
Soap.
It's carved out of soap,
It's not very good. Well, look, it's going to be the same shape they always are. They're always big and rounded and...
Well, it's got to be super aerodynamic and like with plenty of downforce built into the...
Do you think they're going to do like the last one? They purposefully made it ugly. And they did. They admitted to this. They said, we made it ugly because we wanted it to be noticeable. We wanted it to be striking. Do you think a new one's also going to be ugly?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Suzuki are good at things like that. You know what I mean?
Well, talking of which, that's about all we've got time for this section of the show. But after, we are going to talk about another ugly Suzuki. How about that? Join us after the break.